What's up guys, Rob here and welcome back to the promotion project. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you for the support on the series so far. It's been absolutely amazing and all the likes and subscriptions really do help. So if you can keep smashing the like button and subscribing to the channel, that'd be amazing. You join me looking at a major development that occurred days before the transfer window opened. Now normally in Football Manager a board takeover is good news with a bit of investment, things like that, but in this case the names involved are possibly the worst names you could hope to see. Mike Ashley finally left Newcastle, it's good for them, but has decided that Norwich need his services more. So he's taken over the club. Delia was looking to retire anyway, so we knew it was going to happen, but we just didn't really want Mike Ashley in. He's provided no investment at all in the deal, so we had no changes to the budgets, but he did make changes to the club vision, which I'll show you now. He's decided that we are going to be a selling club. He wants to sign players to sell for a profit, and he wants to sign young players to develop for a profit. Now, I don't mind this too much, but if he starts selling players like above our control, then it's going to be a bit of a problem for us. In terms of buying young players, that's exactly what we're looking to do, and some of the transfers I'll show you later on sort of follow that mould. But if he starts selling players, then we're in trouble. So apart from that, he's kept the same objectives. He wants to avoid a relegation battle, reach the 5th round of the FA Cup and reach the 4th round of the Carrow Cup. So all attainable things. But it'll be interesting to see how it sort of plays out over the next few years in terms of whether or not he puts any investment in, whether he sells our players, things like that. So we'll see how we get on with that. But looking at the end of last season, we finished last season with a few awards came in, with Buendia being named Player of the Year, Aaron's Young Player of the Year, and then Timu Puki claimed the Golden Boot as well. And we also had a number of players made it into the Championship Team of the Year, so it was a good finish to the season. A few awards to recognise the success that we had across the season. Moving into this year, transfers wise, the best place to start was with a few new contracts that we've had signed. So Todd Cantwell signed a new contract till 2026, got him under terms now for a little while. All of these players have had pay rises because obviously promotion through the leagues. Aaron's was one we were really desperate to tie down, so he's on a big wage now, but he's tied down through 2026. I'm not sure. Yeah, so he's got a minimum release clause, but it's 172 million, so we shouldn't be worrying too much about that. Elsewhere on players signing new deals, Sorensen signed a new deal. Pookie signed a new 3-year contract as well. Omatoye, the youngster that got some game time towards the end of last season, he's signed a new 5-year deal as well. I think we might have an option to extend. We don't in that one, but either way, he's here for the foreseeable future. Josh Martin signed a new deal as well, and Buendia both signed one during last season. And Ida was given a new deal in October last year, so he's had a new deal for a little while, but he's tied down. He has made his Ireland debut. He scored 4 goals on his debut for Ireland, so he's already starting to make an impact at a higher level. And he, like I say, he's tied down now through 2028 because of the promotion extension clause he had in his contract, which Van der Voort also had. So he's now here till 2027. And Papetti, where's Papetti? Yeah, he's here as well. He's here till 2027 as well. So we've got some big names tied down for some long contracts there. In terms of transfers that have happened elsewhere, on the new signings, if we go transfer history, there was a couple of signings went through before the change of the season. So Calafiori came in from Roma. This guy, he was expensive, but he was 18 years old when we signed him, and he's got some serious potential at left back. Bear in mind, this guy's only just turned 19. He's got fantastic physicals. The technicals are good in all the right areas. He's 6'2". He looks like he could be a real monster for us in the future. He cost us £17 million, so not a cheap transfer, but we couldn't afford to bring... Quintilla was the other option, but Quintilla's 25 years old now, so we went for the youngster with some serious stats on him. I think he's arguably better than Quintilla already, so with room to develop, it's only a good thing. In terms of players that left in last year's transfer window, Onel Hernandez went to Reading for 6 million potentially. He wasn't getting game time, and it made sense to move him on for a bit of profit. Reading did get promoted to the Premier League with us, so he may come back to haunt us a little bit. But we're hopeful that that's a signing that makes sense in the future. Looking at signings that have occurred since the new season started, Sarmiento came in on a free at the end of his contract. He's one that we're just looking at potentially could develop into sort of a good player. At the moment he's going to be a backup. He's not quite ready for first team football in the Premier League, but we're hoping that with a few sort of sub appearances and that, he may be able to become a good player that we could use in the eventuality of sort of injuries or players having to move on. Elsewhere, we brought in Bright Ari Mbai. This guy's a quality centre-back from Bayern Munich, only 18 years old. He didn't come cheap, but when we bought him, we then found out he started off at Norwich as an academy player. So he was here 7 years ago, aged 11, playing at Norwich. So we've brought him back, he's gone full cycle, and I can see him being a long stay in the team alongside Papetti. Gives us two young centre-backs, both with lots of potential as well as good current ability. So we'll see how those two get on together. Like I say, he wasn't cheap. He cost us £19 million, but we'll see how he gets on. I think he'll live up to that price tag quite quickly. In terms of an attacking signing, we brought in Leonardo to play up front. With Pukki starting to get slightly older, I know he signed a new deal. He's sort of coming towards the end of his career. So we looked at bringing in someone that we could develop into a star for the future as well. This guy's only 18. He's got fantastic mentals, which is unusual for an 18-year-old. He's got 15 finishing, 14 composure, which stands out for me as a striker. And he's got a lot of potential. He's only 18 years old. Again, not cheap, but he's already worth more than what we paid for him. So if this guy can sort of find some form and getting himself in the team alongside Ida, then we're in for a really good future up front with these two. And then the final big signing that we've brought in so far is Paulo Bernardo. Now, he came in as our sort of Oliver Skip replacement in central midfield. With Skip, we looked to sign him back again, but Spurs wanted £142 million for him. So it was just not realistic to try and bring him back. We tried to put in some lower offers, but they were adamant they wanted £140 million for him. So we had to leave that one there. So we found Bernardo. The scouts found him playing for Benfica. He's a really well-rounded centre mid with some potential to grow into as well. Only 19 years old, so quite similar age to Skip as well. 6 foot tall, should be able to do a nice job in sort of the defensive midfield position for us. And hopefully see some real development out of him over the next couple of seasons. So in terms of transfers in, that's all we've done so far. The transfer window is still open, but I can't imagine we're going to bring too much in. Possibly a bit more depth at central midfield. But in all honesty, I'm quite happy with the squad that we've got at the moment. So it's looking all right. In terms of transfers out, we've started to sort of reduce the squad size slightly. So we sold off some of the older players that weren't playing. Rupp's gone to Sheffield United, who were relegated for 6 million. Hanley's gone to West Ham in the Premier League, which wasn't our ideal situation, but that's where he wanted to go. So he went for possibly up to 7 million. Leitner wasn't getting game time, so he's gone to Germany for nearly 3 million. Dermich, much the same, couldn't get a fee for him because of his wage demands. He's on an extraordinary wage for the quality of player he is. Oxborough was just too far down our depth chart in goalkeeping position, so we've let him go. And then we've had some guys, their contracts came to an end and we didn't renew them, so they've gone as well. Philip Heiser, he's gone to Blackburn on loan with an option to sign him at the end of the season. So hopefully they'll take up that option because he's not going to be a player for us really. And then just some other loan sales really. Hopefully see some development from some of these, and people like Sinani, we just needed to get off the wage bill a little bit. So we've started to reduce the squad size. There may be a couple more players to go. We've still got people like Closer around who's probably not going to get much game time this season. So we're going to look to move him on. In terms of where that leaves us tactically, we've not really made too many changes. We're going to be playing the 4-2-4 as our main formation most weeks. Bernardo slots in at midfield. Leonardo's going to play a lot of games up front as well. And then the main changes come on the left side of defence with Calafiori and Ari Mbai playing at left centre-back and left-back. So not too many changes. The other option that we do have as well is our 4-2-3-1 that we played last season. And looking at the bench, there's a couple of players you probably didn't see last year. Rocky Bashiri is a guy who we Norwich signed and have had here for a little while. He's been out on loan a few times and he's come back to us now, and I'm looking at him and he's going to make a really good backup right back / centre back. So depending on what we need, we can slot him into the team and he will do a job in both positions by the look of it. So he's a really good youth player, and he's wanted by a few teams at the moment. So it may well be that he ends up being sold on for a bit of a profit, really. And McCallum has come in sort of as our rotation left back. He's a very good left back within his own rights at 20 years old, and he's still got plenty of potential to develop into. So hopefully some game time and a few performances in the Premier League and cup competitions might be able to get him developing. So they're the main changes tactics wise. Not much more to add. You've got Christopher Brunt's going to stay with the first team squad. He got some game time at centre back at the end of last season, so hopefully he'll continue to develop. Looking at our schedule, the next episode will be a Manchester double header. We start the season with Manchester United at home and Manchester City away. Couldn't get much tougher than that, really. And then looking through the fixtures a little bit further down at sort of tough periods, it doesn't come much tougher than this 4-game stretch here. Tottenham at home, Arsenal away, Liverpool at home, Chelsea at home, across a 4-week span, all around Christmas as well. So they're all bunched in together. That will be tough. And then we obviously have the same run again later on in the season at what will be a crucial time of the season as well. So in our last 6 games, we have to play those 4 teams again. So it's going to be crucial to get all our work done by these last sort of 5-6 games, and make sure that we're safe in the Premier League. So with all that said, I will see you next time for a live com double header with Manchester United and Manchester City to start Norwich's Premier League season. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.